My mom is really Catholic, and so I go to her church with her like twice a week as a kid, and there was a gentleman there who was a movie projectionist who I don't think ever dated in his life. He was very lonely, and he lived with his mother, and he used to take me up into the projection room and teach me how to thread the reels, and it kind of got my love of movies really started. And I felt bad for him that he had to look at beautiful people on the screen every day, but he himself was not a good-looking man, and I wrote this poem for him. It's called The Beautiful People. Bob went to my mother's church. He worked at the local theater since the days of Bye Bye Birdie and A Hard Day's Night. Things never seem to get any easier. They rarely do. In his mid-40s, he lived with his aging mother, who never had a kind word for anyone, especially him. On Saturday mornings, he taught me how to thread the projector with true human kindness. Laughing while talking about femme fatales, Western tough guys he could never be. On his nights off, he took classes at the community college, failing a single algebra section repeatedly for the better part of 30 years. What they never had to teach him was heart. You are what you project to the world, his mother said, looking at his reflection sideways through a cracked mirror. Beauty leapt out at him every night, eluding capture, fluttering across the screen in his heart. He knew things weren't that black and white. They could always get better in the next reel. They had to. His dreams were Technicolor. Yeah, I'll read two poems out of here. This is a friend of mine. I lived in Toledo, Ohio for 11 years, and I had a friend who they had a homeless mission, and my friend, he lived at the homeless mission a lot longer than you're supposed to. He was there like 4 years. And he went into the doctors one day, and they're like, well, you have cancer. And then 3 hours later, he just dropped dead after finding out. And I always felt like if I ended up on the streets there, like I would be okay, because if I had to go there, like he would be there waiting for me. And then it was such a sadness to know that if that happened, I'd be there by myself. But this is a poem for him. It's called Poem for Greg Peters. I always wanted to write a poem that I could leave under your boot soles, like newsprint on a cold February morning in Toledo, on the corner of Ashland Avenue or Collingwood Boulevard, or the sidewalk outside the Cherry Street Mission. I always wanted to say that you made the streets feel safer with your poems, with your laughter, somehow just being right around the corner. I can still hear you from miles away, my ear pressed against the pavement of another city, where time refuses your body's resignation to the sun. You say our hearts are not forgotten alleys. Our dreams are only looking for a place to rest. I worked at Cedar Point amusement park like 20 odd years ago, and they put me in a room with this. My roommate was like this 45-year-old like alcoholic who ran the train for the kids, which I always thought was kind of crazy. I don't know, and this is a poem just named for another person too. This is a poem for Craig Cody. We shared a motel room for the better part of 2 months. At 42, you operated the locomotive at an amusement park, working alongside kids who weren't even alive the year you took your first drink. On your day off, you'd catch a cab to the local shopping mall and start downing margaritas around 10 a.m. By noon, it was 1975 all over again. You were a new man, with hopes and dreams and a daughter who still waited by the phone for you to call, while coloring to the Scooby-Doo theme song. You talk about how you just had to get down to Florida one last time, as if we were Joe Buck and Ratso Rizzo, just trying to make it through one more winter on the streets. After I left, I heard you wouldn't let the new guy crash in my bunk, preferring to drink alone. and that when they took you to the hospital with DTs, sunshine was the last thing you saw from the window, dreaming that you had made it home at last.